All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back, Huddle Up podcast. It's been a little bit of a minute. I think we're on episode 11 now. Peep the new drip right over there to my. I don't know what angle y'all are at, but my left. Luca's in the building, coming off crazy timing too. Low key was balling last night against New Orleans. Crazy first quarter. We're going to get into some NBA today. This is going to be mainly an NBA episode, which is great. But we do have some NFL headlines kind of post-combine, pre-draft. We're kind of getting some rumblings and, trades, etc. So kind of wanted to hit on that first. I'll start with you on the two big release. Let's see. DK submitted a trade request. Devante was released.
Mm-hmm.
Or was DK released or trade request? I thought it was trade, right? Did I get
trade
that right?
request, yeah.
Yeah. So, where do you can kind of start with those two. Where do you see Tay signing with, and who do you think trades for DK?
I don't know. I think Devante has more suitors just because he was cut.
For
you
sure.
know, you don't have to give up anything to get him. If I had to pick for Devante, I think, well, what I heard was that he wanted the West Coast, and so hypothetically that would be like Chargers, Rams, Niners. I think the Chargers would probably be his best fit. I just don't know if the Chargers are looking for a stopgap at wide receiver, or if they want an actual like a T. Higgins or a DK Metcalf, maybe someone a little bit younger. But I think Devante. I mean, huh?
Or keep going.
Oh,
I'll cut off later.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Devante would be smart. I'm assuming he wants to go to a contender, so I think a team. I mean, you can consider, I guess, the Chargers a contender. I don't really consider them one right now. But I mean, the Bills wouldn't be a bad option. Maybe the Ravens if you didn't want to take on as big of a workload. But he's always kind of been the guy where he wants to be the focal point of an offense, and I'm sure that in the right system he probably could be still. But I don't know. I think the Bills and the Chargers are probably the two best spots for him. It's just
I like both of those. I think Chargers is interesting because knowing them as badly as they'd want a guy like T, I don't know if I necessarily see that spending that's the dream fit. I would love to see Herbert with he did have a true number one in Keenan obviously for years. So we're not gonna Herbert didn't have weapons, no, but he didn't exactly have weapons this past year. I would love to see T. Higgins in LA with Herbert, but I don't see them dropping the bag. So I think Devante would be a really interesting fit. I feel like we're missing. What about in the NFC? Is there anybody? I mean, Baltimore. There was rumors of Baltimore mid-season before he got traded to the Jets. So that could be something that they'll revisit. Yeah, Bills as well. I mean, we talked about it, I think on the last episode, getting a true solid wide receiver one in Buffalo and a veteran two. Because I think Devante, he has less of he's not completely free of the diva mentality, but he has less of it, I think, because he has one playoff. He's been there. I don't know. I don't see him as much of a diva in my head. I'm just thinking really quick.
I think the two NFC teams would be Rams and Niners. I think those two teams kind of make sense. I think the Rams make a lot of sense because I think they're trying to go all in the next couple of years, but I don't know if they're trying to get someone younger. I know that they met with a bunch of guys from the combine, so I think they might be trying to get a Golden or a Egbuka. I would like to see Buka and Puka together. That would be pretty. That'd be pretty funny.
Sick. I want him in Houston, but that would be sick.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I'm personally not a huge fan of Devante. I personally would rather just draft a receiver because I think the Rams would probably benefit more from that. I just don't know, at least in the NFC, where he would, like the NFC
Green
South.
Bay.
I don't. That doesn't make sense to me. The NFC North. Oh, the Packers.
Yeah, that's why. Sorry, I said Packers. Yeah, yeah. Packers, I think would be
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a good. I mean, it'd be cool. I think it'd be a good fit. I mean, they need weapons badly, like on the outside, because they have Jacobs.
According
They
to Josh
have
Jacobs,
yeah. According to
you
him,
saw that clip.
yeah yeah the diva running back, I guess. Um, I think it would be a good fit though. I mean,
Yeah.
I forget kind of where you are on Jordan Love. I'm kind of middle ground with him. He definitely has like the ceiling, but he's so just like inconsistent. But
Yeah.
that offense, he didn't really have consistent weapons this year. We thought Christian Watson was going to be like a breakout guy, and he just
Hmm.
hasn't been. Like he gets a couple deep bomb. He gets like a deep bomb every 3 weeks, and that's
Yeah.
kind of it. Um, obviously, Lions no, Bears they just no. Um, um, I wonder, what do you think the Seahawks are gonna like? Would the Seahawks look at him? I mean, they were getting
I
rid
think
of
they're gonna try
Debo
and.
now
I
in
think
the pocket.
no. I think that they're. I mean, maybe, but he said if Devontae wants to go to a contender, then I wouldn't go to Seattle. That's just the plain truth of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, at least. I don't think he wants Gino throwing to him. Um, and then he probably. I mean, realistically, I know Smith and Jigba played a lot of slot, I guess, this last year. Um, but I think he's their best offensive. I thought JSN was their best player last year, point blank period, outside of Leonard Williams. Um, I think he's better
Yeah.
than DK, and I don't know if Devontae would want to go there just because he might be wide receiver too. Like same thing if he went to the Rams. I don't know if he'd get a lot of as many looks as he'd get with like a Baltimore or like Buffalo or I mean shit even Green Bay. But
I think he'd be the one. Am I missing someone in Green Bay? I think he would go in there and be the one right now,
yeah,
unless I'm.
I mean I like Dobbs a lot, but I mean I don't think he's there yet. But I think he has the potential out of. I think out of all those guys, I think Dobbs has the most potential. Um, Between him, Reed, Watson, Bo Melton, Wick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wick was
So
up and down as well. I mean, it's just a bunch of like. I don't think any of them are necessarily bad. I just think they're.
no.
I don't think any of them have a wide receiver one ceiling, so you're kind
Yeah.
of limited.
They,
Um,
yeah, they benefit a lot if they just got like one top dog. That's why I guess transitioning, and we can keep going back and forth, but DK would be an
yeah,
interesting landing spot for them, just because they'd be able to attach a pick to one of those receivers, and the Seahawks. I think that'd be a pretty good return. I know what's it called? I know he probably wants a lot of money. Like he said, he wanted a new deal if he signs with the new team, DK, or like an extension. Um, I personally, I don't think DK is as good as people are making it out to seem, at least online. I think he's like a wide receiver 1B. Like, I think you still need a really good receiver across from him, or at least someone that's, contributes a lot. I don't think he plays as big as he is. That's like the take that I've had watching him over the years against the Rams. He doesn't play like he's 6'3", what is he, 240, 250? Or I don't even know what he is, 230 maybe, or whatever. Like,
right. Yeah.
he just plays very like not soft. He just plays like more finesse than as like a powerful threat. I don't know how to describe it other than he doesn't play like how he's built. That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like DK. I think just because of the physical gifts, I think they're just. I mean, you can't teach that. That's
Yeah.
obviously not thing you need in a wide receiver. That was why he wasn't a high draft pick, was because of like footwork, things like that. But I think I'm trying to think of fit. Like I like Green Bay for DK. I bet they get either one of those guys. I bet Green Bay ends up with either DK or Devante. I feel like
Yeah.
that's really cool to because they need it and they're close. I think they're close. I mean, I was listening to someone talk about them. They had that 10-win record or whatever it was, and they were 1-6 in the division, and like that won't last. That's pretty like abnormal for really any team. That's especially a playoff team. So, I mean, you would think, let's say even Detroit sweeps them next year, they'd split with Minnesota at least split with the Bears. That's already more wins, than they had already.
Yeah.
So I think they're close, and I think they're gonna get one of those guys. For DK, other landing spot, I mean, it's kind of the same, right? I could see him in LA. The only issue with that, right, is the money side of it. If you're gonna trade and sign an extension, might as well just sign T, right?
Well, but T's tagged.
I know, but you can still sign him, unless I'm missing something there. Isn't it like? Can't you like
they'd have to
the
trade
offer?
him. No, I think it's like if T Higgins got offered by like. There's something about the right to offer, but I think it's like an opposing team gets the right to offer, and then the Bengals are able to match. Not like the Bengals
Correct.
make the offer. Yeah, but
so a team could offer T, and then I think there's like a draft pick or something involved. I think you're right, but I don't think it's like a first.
No, I think they're like thirds, right? Because they're all the comp picks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would rather do that. If I'm already going to sign DK to an extension and I have to, I'd rather just try and get T, even if I have to pay a little more. I think T's better than DK.
Yeah, I can get behind that take. It's weird with me because I don't think he's worth like that top tier money. I don't know. Like if you were given the opportunity to sign him, I wouldn't pay more than. I mean, he'd be my wide receiver too, hypothetically, if he were to.
DK or T or both? Are you talking about DK?
DK, yeah. I wouldn't pay him more than like 17, 18 million a year. I mean, for a wide receiver 1B, like a 2, that's that's still a lot. I wouldn't commit that much money to, assuming that you have a wide receiver that you're already paying 20, 25 million, I don't think that you need to commit that much money to get somebody who can produce roughly the same. Like, I'm not scared when I play, like when the Rams played the Seahawks, I'm not like, oh my God, we got a game plan for DK Metcalf. Like that's not a real thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Which I agree with.
I mean, even Kenneth Walker, I think, is a better player at his position than DK is.
Yeah. I would rather have T for sure. I think DK's good, but I think you're about right in terms of like the money ballpark. I also think I saw the like Bleacher Report Gridiron post of all the free agents right now at receiver. I mean, it's like
a
loaded.
Retirement home.
Yeah. So I mean, I think you can get value. Like someone predicted this. Like I heard the take like 2 years ago, like with the whole running back thing and like how they're underpaid, whatever. We're seeing like a oversupply of like wide receivers now. Like there's a lot of good ones in free agency, and like the running back market is like slimmed down. And so I think teams are going to start to like, again, try and pay their running backs. Like we saw Saquon this year, we saw Derrick Henry, we saw Josh Jacobs, even Mixon. Like all 4 of those guys were very dominant. And then now there's all these receivers. So I think we're going to see kind of, obviously receivers are still very valuable in like a passing football league, but they may not be getting paid as much compared to the top dollar running backs. I don't know.
That's actually pretty interesting. I think there's just too many guys that want 25 million.
Yeah, and I don't think all of them are going to get it. I mean, obviously, it's not going to happen. So
there's more talent at receiver, I think, in the league than there is at running back.
Exactly.
So okay. Yeah, no, I can get behind that.
So, well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, with a guy like T Higgins, I think teams are breaking the bank for for T. I don't think any question. I mean, I would. I'd be willing to, but he's. I think he's a true wide receiver one. I mean, he was producing right next to Chase in games Chase was out. He produced. Like, I mean, I think he's legit, but I think it goes down quickly once you move off of T in terms of
Yeah.
like who's available.
I think I think my answer for where DK ends up is New England. I think they have the money to spend. Or
Yeah,
I mean maybe the Commanders, they have a lot of money to spend, and since T Higgins is kind of taken, DK and
right.
Terry would be pretty good.
And
But
Debo.
oh Jesus.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about Debo. Okay, yeah, no. I mean,
yeah, it's not happening.
no,
But
no, yeah, no. If they
yeah.
didn't have Debo, I would say the Commanders just because they have a lot of money to spend.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't really try more for.
a
I
better
mean, if they
receiver.
wanted to go all in, yeah, get like T Higgins. I mean, why not? I don't know. They traded a fifth for Debo. You essentially trade, your third round pick instead, or whatever it is, and then you pay more, but you have the cap space. I don't know. I guess that could create kind of a weird wide receiver room dynamic when you have T and Terry, but I don't
Yeah,
know. It'd be fun to watch. Shoot.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
I say let's start on the
sorry, you're
NBA.
lagging.
Am I lagging? Are
NBA?
we good?
No, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, let's hit on NBA. We've been due for a NBA heavy episode. I think we're motivated. Um, I want to start off by saying I kind of told you, I gave you like my rant, and I'm not going to give the whole rant right now, but like I decided I like used to hate regular season NBA, and like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like watch a couple games, like watch, because I used to like hate like the actual basketball that was being played, and I was proven wrong in terms of the basketball side. I still think the league has problems with like load management. We could get into all that stuff, but like the basketball itself, it's like the defense looks bad because of how they can space the floor in the NBA, and you can't really defend it. And there are teams that can defend it. Like the Thunder are ridiculous on defense. Like the way they're
Yeah,
able to move and rotate, like teams can do it. The Pistons are up there as well on the defensive end. Obviously Boston. So like I was proven wrong, and I've been the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. I've been loving watching a lot of the NBA. So I'm motivated. Um, it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. Um, so let's start with the Lakers. Obviously, you got the Luka jersey on. You're feeling pretty good. They had that Hornets game early, but I think past that weird game, they've been pretty flawless. I think I'm missing one game that they lost, maybe, but I don't think. Yeah, I didn't think so. Um, they've looked really, really good. Do you think like how are you feeling right now? I'll just let you kind of take this, and then I'll chime in.
yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
they've won
shocked if
seven.
they.
That's crazy, bro.
Huh? What'd you
They've
say?
won seven straight. They've won
Yeah.
seven straight ever since the Hornets game. They haven't lost a game.
Um. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped, dude. As you can tell, this is the first basketball jersey I bought, I think, since we ordered the Vando DH Gate ones a couple years ago.
So legendary, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't ever buy basketball jerseys like that. I mean, I bought a Kobe one, but that was long overdue.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this was awesome. Laker Nation, we were so back. I don't I don't really know what to say that hasn't been said already. The defense looks good. Luca looks like the last couple of games he's probably gotten back to 90, maybe 85, 90% of what he's capable of. I still think there's more that he can do, at least offensively. I know his free throws have kind of been rough
Yeah.
last couple games, but I don't know if the defense can stick up. If the defense can play like this all the time, I mean, I know not all the time, but if they can You know what I'm saying? If they can produce like this, I really don't know who's going to stop them. Um, I think that there's teams that are probably more talented, at least as a whole, that aren't as top heavy. But when you're top heavy and you have two of the top seven players playing basketball right now, I mean,
Yeah.
LeBron is like the greatest 3-and-D wing player ever, and he's like 87 years old. Um, and Luka Doncic is playing out of his mind, and he's not even fully healthy. And then they've been winning the last couple of games without Reeves, without Rui. Um, Goodwin
It's
has been
yeah.
out. Like they've been banged up with their third and fourth best players, and they still are finding ways to win. Um, I don't know. I think, and I expect them to make the conference finals at least. I think the way it shakes out, like if you were to look right now, they play the Wolves as if assuming the Wolves as the 7th seed. I know that's play-in, but assuming the Wolves are the 7th seed, I think the Lakers can them in 5, maybe 6. I just don't think that they have the juice. Um, does scare me a little bit that they have Nas Reed, but like that one Anthony Edwards clip with the Jaden McDaniels thing, we have Jackson Hayes, so it doesn't matter. Um, so I wouldn't worry about that. And then hypothetically, if you're to play at the 3, you got to play the Nuggets. I am worried about the Nuggets out of any team in the West. But if they can get one or two performances defensively like they did the last time they played back in like late February, where they just clamped Jokic and put him in jail, um,
Yeah.
I they probably goes to 7. But I think the Lakers have the juice to beat them. I think it could even be 6. Um, we have literally just a mini version of Jokic now, which is so surreal. I can't believe my life. It's awesome. But
Yeah.
I I think they have the tools to beat OKC. I just don't know if I don't know if they have the depth to do it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think the only team that's really like built to beat them is the Celtics, and they're built to
Yeah.
beat everybody. So it's like I think we're gonna get Lakers Celtics finals this year. Or I mean, Cavs.
It'd be
I will say
insane.
the Cavs are pretty deep, and I think that they have
Absolutely
a
good, dude.
lot of talent. So
I think it's very interesting to me because if you look at like me, I'm always like looking at the odds, whatever. But this is a weird like I don't think I've seen like title odds in any sport really like this. Like both the Thunder and the Celtics are even at like plus 200, which for a finals odds is like nothing. Like that's like okay, why would you really take that? So the books think that like it's Thunder Celtics guaranteed, which is kind of crazy to me, especially with what we've been seeing. The Cavs coming back on the Celtics the other night. The Thunder lost a really bad. That I mean, again, it's the regular season. Totally understand it, but they had a really bad loss to the Timberwolves. They were up like 15 with 3 minutes to go, and they
oh
blew
yeah,
it. Like, I, I just don't think either of those teams. I think they're the two best teams, no question, in basketball. I think if you didn't say that, you'd be a little crazy. But I think they're both beatable. And I think the rundown with the Lakers and their playoffs is like if they are to match up with the Nuggets, I got to take Denver there, unfortunately. Um, and I think it comes down to, and the reason I'm going to take the Nuggets over the Lakers is the same reason I'm going to take the Lakers over the Thunder if they were to match up, which again doesn't make sense, in terms of like seeding, odds, whatever. But I don't know what the Thunder are going to be able to do against Luka and LeBron. I don't really like. I've watched the Thunder play. They play insane defense. Shea is a baller. He should be like. I think Jokic should probably get MVP, but voter fatigue. Shea's balling. No problem giving it to Shea. Absolutely not. But I don't know what they can do against Luka and LeBron. I can't see them winning. I don't care what the odds say. If that's the matchup, I think the Lakers can take that in 6. Now the other side is though, I think the best player in basketball is Jokic, no question. I think there's a big cliff there, and I think if the Nuggets play the Lakers, I think you have to lean. You have to lean with Jokic, even with that game that we saw in Denver. Which it's kind of like what you're saying. You're worried about the Nuggets. That's my same worry for the Lakers. I think.
But if it's
I just
the thing is that if the logic is that like for like OKC not beating LA, it's like who's going to guard LeBron and Luka, right? I'm assuming the justification for the Nuggets beating the Lakers is who's going to guard Jokic. Like, is that
pretty
like
much
your
yes, which I know they just did. So I could be totally wrong on this. I don't know if they play again in the regular season,
they
but
do?
I'm not going against Jokic. I've seen like for whatever reason, I don't understand it, but the Nuggets make the craziest shots only against the Lakers. The one Jokic three in LA where he's fading back behind his
Oh,
head, starting shot clock. The Jamal Murray buzzer beater in the back corner. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. They're Laker killers, and I'm tired. Like I'm obviously gonna be pulling for the Lakers, but am I gonna make my prediction that the Lakers can beat them? I can't do it. I can't do it because they, for whatever reason, now that has been with Darvin Ham, so maybe things can change. But Jokic and Murray always step up against the Lakers, so I don't know. I would not pick the Lakers in that matchup, but I think it would go to 7. I think it'd be a great series. I don't think they'd get swept again or anything like that. I would lose my mind. That would be like the biggest disappointment of all time.
man. After saying that, now I'm riding with Lakers are going to win it all this year. I just I don't think Murray will have the success that he had against the like. I just don't think that the other guys are going to show up this time. Like when they beat them in Denver this most recent time, dude, that was like it got bad. It got bad, and that was with Luka not even like Luka was playing good. That wasn't like Luka, and that was one of the first games that they played together. LeBron and Luka, like that was like game 4 or game like 3 together, and they did that to him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just like like Jokic is probably the best player in the league, but like after him, I mean SGA and Luka are right there. I don't think Giannis is in that category there this season. Although I mean he's still good. I'm not a huge.
Yeah,
But like then to round out that 5, you could honestly say LeBron's been playing like a top 5 player the last.
LeBron's been the. I was gonna just get to this. LeBron's been the best player in basketball the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, easily.
Easily. I don't know if he can sustain that.
You will.
I would love to see it. I mean, my agenda. My first agenda is like Rockets playoff success, which I have no hope for. So I'm kind of like throwing that out the table. But all in on the Rockets, and then we're rooting for Le Ring for sure. So, I'm hoping, man. I think that matchup specifically is like the only one that worries me. And I think as worried as I am about like the Celtics, if that matchup were to happen, like I think if Luka and LeBron made it to the finals, I think it would be damn close. At least. I think they'd put up at least a good fight.
I don't think
Like
they lose to the anomaly and the Celtic Samurai or whatever they're calling him.
Who's the Celtic Samurai?
I think it's Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be really fun to watch. The Nuggets. I'm too like scarred from the last 3 playoffs. What has it been?
Like I think it's just 2, but it feels like 3.
10 years, honestly. Living in Denver for those, like pure pain. I'm like, but I mean, no, the Lakers have a real shot though. and I don't know why. Like the odds and like people keep sleeping on the Lakers. To me, that seems crazy. You've got it's probably two of the best five players in basketball. It's got to be. I mean, the way LeBron's playing, he's probably top five right now.
Yeah.
The way he's playing, um, both with high IQ and the way they play defense, the way they move the ball, like they've got a real shot. So yeah, it'll be. I'm excited. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Um, who we'll see if it's enough. Hopefully, but okay. Here was the other thing I forgot about, and then we can keep talking Lakers, whatever. But I think if the Thunder played the Nuggets, though, if that somehow worked out in the seeding, I think the Thunder would take Denver. So that's something to root. If Denver can somehow slip to like the 4, that could be huge, in my opinion.
Like if they were to play the Thunder somehow in the second round.
Yeah, if they were to play them in the second round, and then it's Thunder Lakers in the conference finals.
Oh, that would.
We're going to the finals. It's tough. It's really tough for me too because I've watched a lot of the Thunder games, and they're like, they're really good. They're really damn good. I just like if you figure out a way to slow down SGA, then like where's everything else coming from? Like it is their role players are phenomenal, but like in a playoff game when you need a shot, is it gonna be J-Dub? Like maybe it is. But then again, like I'm taking Luka and LeBron over whatever that is. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. I'm with you there.
So it'll be like Thunder the better team, but just matchup wise, I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, in the West, I mean, other than that, I mean, the Mavs, who we thought, like, we can talk about that for a little bit. Kyrie tears his ACL. AD has been out and is probably just going to be put on rest for the rest of the year at this point. I mean, what do they do? What do they do? They're raising ticket prices, apparently. The season ticket holders can't get their refunds after they guaranteed refunds. I saw that TikTok yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and the best part about it, Kyrie has a player option this offseason.
Yeah, he's gone.
Like, I mean,
he's out of there.
The only scenario I see him sticking around in, and it wouldn't even make sense to me, but based on the rumors, and this kind of ties into the next thing that I'm sure you wanted to talk about, which was the Suns and KD.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he would stick around if it meant that he got to play with KD and AD. That's hilarious. That's the nicknames that they have. Just KD 80. But like you'd probably end up trading Christie. I mean, I heard that they don't have any first round picks, the Mavs, which I thought was so weird because I thought that they had a good amount, but they don't for whatever reason. I don't know where they've gone.
It's so bad. It's bad. It's
bad.
Terrible.
I honestly feel bad sometimes rooting for Luka because it's like, wow, like they really stole him, you know?
Oh, it was literal, like that was robbery. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I feel bad for Matt. I don't feel bad for like, management and Nico and like,
no,
I don't give a shit.
Just
but,
the
like,
fans.
Fans, like the diehard Mavs fans, like, damn, dude. I saw Nick Wright. This is what Nick Wright said. They like one morning, a Mavs fan woke up in January, and it was like, man, we have a 10-year like championship window. We were just in the finals. We got Luka and Kyrie. Like life is good. Then you trade Luka, which is a nightmare. But then you're watching AD play with Kyrie, and AD's balling. You're like, okay, like maybe this can work. And then that same game, AD gets hurt and goes out for a month.
It was like that TikTok.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie come with the last month.
Yeah, and then Kyrie tears his ACL. I mean, like, jeez, dude, that is I've had some rough moments as a Texans fan, but that's next level. I'm grateful, Loki.
Yeah, I I don't know.
And
I think
Kyrie,
Kyrie. I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck around though, just because I think that the Mavs probably aren't going to get many. They're probably not going to get many people that want to come play for them anymore. Um, that's just the
yeah,
truth. And I think that they could offer him probably a better deal than other teams could. I don't know how the whole the super max thing works for him since he's only been there like a couple of years, but
that's the interesting piece too. Really quick is like because he tore his ACL, which like Kyrie's turned his shit around. He's been like a baller, no more like off the court shenanigans. Like he was gonna get a max. Now he's old and with the ACL. I don't know if the Mavs would give it to him, but it's also like if he opts out of the player deal, the player option, then
someone will pay him.
but how much would they pay him? Like what is his top dollar? That's kind of the question mark right now.
I mean, I still think you give him. I would be comfortable. I mean, he's going to be 32. I'd be comfortable giving him like 30 million for a couple years, maybe 3 years. I mean, he's still the most talented basketball player I've probably seen, like at least with his
Yeah,
handle and his finishing around the rim. So
it's
I
just
don't
not
know.
near the max. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, no,
He's
probably not what it would be if he was healthy the whole year. But interesting little tidbit here, and this is kind of where it's shaping up to me at least. Imagine, and I don't know where this would be able to be had because it would require a team with a lot of cap space. But like, imagine Kyrie opts out again, and I mean, I know KD said that he wanted to go to a contender, but I could totally see them linking up again somewhere.
yeah.
Like,
I I
I
think
don't know
KD's going
where.
to Houston. I think KD's going to Houston. I think Houston has the draft picks,
Yeah,
and I think I don't want to like sound crazy biased and say like, oh, that's kind of set in stone, but I don't know what other teams are like kind of in their position. Like maybe OKC, like
yeah,
OKC, wild, especially if they like were to lose, in the conference finals or something. Like they're calling KD, and
yeah,
Phoenix would get a boatload of picks. I mean, OKC still has like an insane amount of picks, and they
yeah.
OKC has a scenario to get Cooper Flag still, which is crazy. Like it's that was another thing. So there's a lot of things we could talk about with the NBA, but the fact that like 3 years ago we were like, damn, like what could OKC be with like all these picks and like the young roster, and now we're here and they're like the clear number one team in the West.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. Like we saw it years ago. Trust the process, but uh, OKC edition instead of Philly.
They're gonna have to move those picks just because with the whole aprons and how I guess all the contracts work. I don't know how
Yeah.
they're gonna afford paying Chet and J Dub depending on if they take like pay cuts or how stuff kind of shakes out. I personally don't think that KD gets a huge haul. Like I think you probably get like at least one first,
I think you
um,
get.
probably
I think.
two.
I mean, Gobert got four. That was a weird trade,
Yeah,
but
but
still.
I don't know how the the Luca trade affects things because like obviously the Lakers them fleeced the
They
Mavs,
did
so it's
trade.
kind of like
They traded AD. Like
yeah,
they got
but like
not comparable value, obviously, but like they got a
yeah,
top tier.
yeah. I don't know if that affects the trade market. I mean, obviously I'm not a NBA GM, so I don't know what they're all thinking, but I mean I'm sure teams use that as leverage. Like, look, Luca got um, a top 15 player and a first and like a really good role player. Um, and I mean, I'm sure people probably have KD over 80, but like I honestly don't know. At least at this point right now, obviously 80's hurt, but
Yeah.
like if you were to measure their value, I feel like the value would be pretty similar. That's just my take on
Yeah,
it, I think.
I think that's tough. I want to give AD the edge because honestly, before, I mean, we both know this kind of following the Lakers. I mean, AD was like very available the last two, like this year and last year, very
Yeah.
available. And then Murat, he gets traded and gets hurt, right away. So like now everyone's like, oh, is he injury bugged? I mean, he was very like I kind of want to give AD the nod over KD in terms of like value, especially because he's younger.
Hmm.
But it's close. It's close. I mean, KD's still KD, but
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I I
I mean,
have
could
them
you
at
see?
similar. Huh?
Or keep going. Sorry, you go. You go.
Oh, I mean, I personally just see them as similar values only because, like, KD, you can just pop into an offense and it works, versus AD probably has to be more, like, ingrained into the offense, and I don't think it's as fluid as
Yeah.
Durant would be. But at least going back to, like, I guess the original point that I had, I mean, Kyrie and KD would be pretty cool. I think that it could all work out on the Mavs. Like if the Mavs traded Christie, Lively, and a first, I think that's probably fair value for KD at this point. I know that the
Yeah.
first is like, I think the first is going to be a future first, or if it's like, maybe if you take off protections on it, that would work best. Um, I'd like to see him on the Mavs. I'm kind of just spitballing here. I think I'd like to see KD on the Mavs with Kyrie and AD. Um,
I mean, I
but
like it a
yeah,
lot.
low key KD to the Nuggets would be pretty fun.
That would be gross. I've really like, as much as like the Nuggets kind of drive me insane, just because rooting for Lay Ring, it's kind of brutal when one team just kills you every year. I I really don't want to see the Nuggets waste Jokic's prime because like I think if Jokic, when we could go down this rabbit hole too, but like I think if Jokic gets like 4 rings, like the equivalent ish of like Braun, I think Jokic is the goat to me. Like
Yeah,
he's what he does, for an offense and like the MVPs, blah blah blah. I mean, we all know it, but it's just like the team around him is like so. It's just weird. I feel like they don't do the best job of like building around him to me. So like bringing in like a KD would be pretty
I
unreal.
think I think the team that won the title was pretty well built around him. Like they obviously had Pope instead of Brown, and then they had Bruce Brown. But they had, I mean, Jamal Murray was obviously better. The thing that I'm realizing now, talking about this with you, Jokic has never had a top 30 teammate ever.
Nope.
Which is nuts to think about. Because if they got KD, they'd probably win a ring. Like,
I
not
think they'd be
probably, they would.
they would be the favorites. I
Yeah.
mean,
So, I mean, I know we talked about it at one point. I would have loved to see Luka play with the Jokic at some point because that's just good basketball. But I mean,
good.
KD would be a pretty like if they were able to. I don't know. They trade Brown. They somehow are able to unload Jamal Murray and turn him into like a role player or two. They
Oh,
trade like
that'd be
two
so good.
firsts. Yeah, they'd have a good team. They'd have a really good team. So
I
I kind of
low key get rid of Murray, and it just didn't happen. But
that
uh,
contract is just so crazy to me that they
so bad.
gave it to
It's so
him.
bad. It's so bad to me. I think it. I mean, it definitely limits you if you're trying to look at a guy like KD. I mean,
Yeah.
they still can, but like, it makes it more challenging.
I mean, hypothetically, they could unload him to the Suns, and the Suns would just have to eat the money and everything, but they would get probably more picks back. Like I think that, I mean, I think if I was the Suns, I would just want to blow everything up, like trade Booker, trade KD, and then just eat Beal's contract and take on bad contracts with picks, kind of like how
Yeah.
the the Thunder have done it. They take on bad contracts in exchange for picks. Um, I think that's the only way that they're going to be relevant in the next 10 years. I think if they hold on to Booker for the next 3, 4, 5, they're just going to be whatever. But yeah, I think
We talked
that,
about this too. I mean, the weird thing about the Suns and like the guard trade is like, I mean, they already have Beal, so on a roster at one time, potentially they would have Booker, Beal, and Jamal Murray. I
yeah,
forget.
well,
We were talking like Rockets, like so.
yeah,
Jalen Green were to get over there,
yeah.
it would get yeah, it'd get weird.
It would,
But
it would get weird, but in this scenario, you would also unload Booker, and then you
true,
would
yeah.
just eat as many big contracts as you can for picks to rebuild, and then go from there. Like just strip the entire team and tank for the next 2, 3 years. Um,
Where could you see Booker ending up?
that's another thing that I thought about. Um, I genuinely don't know. Um, I know that he's had a worse year this year than he's had in recent years, and so I think at least other people are kind of concerned about that. I personally wouldn't be. I actually don't. I genuinely don't have a team in mind. There's probably like an obvious one out there. I mean, the Heat.
I've got a pretty good idea, but there's no way it would happen. San Antonio.
It'd be interesting, but
I mean, you would have. I just yeah. San Antonio. That's like a crazy dream scenario. Like I don't know if there's any way that actually happens, but like
yeah,
you have Fox, Wemby, and Booker. That'd be pretty nuts.
I think if they
Golden
wanted to get
State,
rid of Castle, they probably could do that.
or I guess Golden State is Jimmy Butler now. Well, but
I thought about
Castle's like a 4, isn't he? Or yeah,
no,
he's like yeah.
Castle's a guard.
Why does it say forward on real and then he's a guard? I don't.
Well,
Yeah,
he's
he's
like
6'5".
if he
Okay, yeah, never mind.
yeah
They
he's
won't
not
trade Castle, so that's not a good fit. Um, yeah, it would probably be some random team, probably not a contender. Booker probably ends up in Philly and just filming a podcast with Paul George.
I
Might be
think
good.
the Heat's realistic.
But you give up Hero. Are you willing to do that, or do you pair them together?
I mean, I don't think Hero's anything special, but if I was trading Booker, I would want Hero and picks, and then I'd flip Hero for more picks to another team. Like if I'm the Suns, I would just want picks unless it was like a bona fide young player. Like Hero's what, like 24, 25 now, probably. He's got to be like
Yeah,
mid 20s. He's older than us.
I'm already on my phone, so let me just look for you.
Okay. Because like I know
25.
that 25.
25.
I know 25 is young, but like in the grand scheme of things, if your team's going to rebuild and you're going to be contending in 5 years, 30-year-old Tyler Hero probably isn't the player that you want to build the team around. So
Yeah.
I would flip him for picks or do like a 3-team trade. Um, but like I think you had said it before, the likelihood of them trading Booker just doesn't seem great. I I don't think the Suns would trade him, which I think is a dumb decision, but he's kind of been the guy there, so he might just be like a Kobe where he fizzles out with them with like a bad team.
That's kind of my gut, honestly. I think Katie's gone. I think because the second you trade Booker too, then you're just like your team's just irrelevant at that point, and that's pretty hard to like deal with, you know, because it's a
I think if
business.
you
You're
want,
like, I don't know. It's just hard to put your team in irrelevancy. Like you don't want to be the Wizards, even if you're
no, but
building process, whatever. Like we all know the Wizards aren't doing anything. I don't care if they get Cooper Flag. They're just going to be
no,
LaMelo with the Hornets 2.0. Like I don't know.
I don't know because I mean they've shown that they've had like the John Wall and Beal teams have been decent. Like the guys
They
that they
just
have now are
they've been
like
decent.
okay, but like the Suns, I mean, outside of a finals run that they had, what have they like done? Like they're
Yeah,
like
not much.
I don't view this era of Suns basketball any much different than the Wizards teams.
Yeah,
with
but
John
this,
Wall and Beal. Like they outside of making an NBA Finals, there's really not much to like. Like they traded McCall and picks for KD. They got washed multiple times in the first round. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. Like it's all fizzled out. And a star player wants out. Like it's actually kind of close to the Wizards. Um,
it's
but
just it's more of like the playoff success, and you're making the playoffs, and your fans are engaged. Like,
but
I,
the, they're not even going to make the playoffs this year. That's the thing. Like you have this team with three. I mean, probably two Hall of Famers, and then like a really good like a Hall of really good player in Beal. Um, you have the team right now, and you're still not going to make it, and you know you're not going to the situation's not going to get better from here. So I think capitalizing on Booker and Katie now is the way to go. And I mean, irrelevancy sucks, yeah, but I mean the Wizards have got Sar out of it. They have um, Bub Carrington. Who's the other dude? I'm totally forgetting somebody.
Jordan Poole.
Pool party. No, I feel like they have like a good. Maybe it is Sar that I'm thinking of. I don't know, but they have
Middleton,
like good. They have good young pieces.
Keyshawn George. Keyshawn George?
Hmm.
Where did he play again? I feel like I would know it,
Florida.
but where? Oh, Miami. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Marcus Smart.
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're not like.
But they're in contention to get flag, and then they have like a direction to go in the next couple of years. Whereas like the Suns are trending in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like the Suns are probably like
Yeah.
4 steps ahead of like the Mavs right now. Is how it feels. Like just trending towards not a good future.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't know what I would do because I agree. Like, if you really want to like turn your team around, you kind of just have to strip the slate. But your fans just like hate you for 2 years, and you're just losing money and whatever. Like, part of the business, but it does make it a little more complicated. Like, it's just not. It's not like you're just playing my GM on your Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
it's it's a challenge. I'll get us out with this. Um, do you have like one team? I'll just completely open it up, like either East or West, besides like the Lakers, obviously. Um, like aside from Thunder, Celtics, who do you think's like the most likely to make a pretty crazy run and like has a shot at winning a championship?
I think
Or maybe not a shot at winning, but just getting close. Whatever you want to answer.
I think the Bucks could be interesting this year just because no one's talking about them. Like everyone's kind of written them off. I think they're kind of like a low key team that could maybe make some noise. Obviously, they've been there before and won. Um,
Yeah, they're fourth in the East, so they're up there.
yeah, at least in the East, the Bucks, the West, the Nuggets, kind of the same situation as the Bucks. They've been there before, but there's no like team from behind the 6 seed, I mean, realistically, there's no team that's beyond a 4 seed that moves me. I think everyone is. It's pretty top heavy. Which okay, this is something I guess we can also tune out on. The like everyone talks about like parity in basketball is really good. Like the Warriors versus Cavs finals were like really annoying.
Yeah.
What's the difference between those teams and like the Celtics and Thunder? Because if it wasn't for the Luka trade, I would be very confident in saying it's gonna be Celtics Thunder. And it's like there's not really
Yeah.
parity in the
Yeah.
league. Like there's only 4 or 5 real contenders in the league. I mean, yeah, five I'd say. And like even when the Warriors and Cavs were winning, their conferences and whatnot, like you had the Rockets, at least in the West, who put up a fight, and you could even sneak in like the Celtics the one year when they had LeBron on the ropes in 2018, I think it was. Like
Yep. That's right.
you could consider them championship caliber. I mean, I know everyone kind of just thought the Warriors were gonna win, but like the Rockets were a Chris Paul injury away from winning in 2018, probably. So like there was a little bit of parity, and it feels like the same thing now. Like there's just obvious teams. I mean, that's kind of how it is in every sport, but it doesn't seem like there's like in the NFL this past year.
Yeah.
You could say, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens all had a good shot. You could say the Lions, the Eagles obviously had a good shot, and then you could pick like genuine dark horse contenders. Like some people had the Rams, some people had golly, this is nuking my
Not my
point.
boy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
sure people had the Chargers as like a dark horse to beat the Chiefs and to go at least a little bit deep in the playoffs, right? Like there
Yeah.
were teams, um, at least in other sports. I mean, now that baseball's cooked, probably, but like point being, there's just not a lot of parity. It seems like it's entertaining, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, there's only realistically 4 or 5 teams that are going to win a ring this year.
So, okay, I wanna hit on that head on. I think I hear you. Just let's take out the NFL for a second because it's a very unfair comparison, and the reason for that is the way like the playoffs are set up, which I know I'm not like preaching to you on this. I'm preaching to, whatever, the people listening. So, one game elimination versus a 7 game series is completely different. That's why March Madness is March Madness. Like Virginia when they played, whoever that team was, UMBC. If they played in a 7 game series, yeah, maybe the 16 seed UMBC takes 1 game, maybe. Okay, whatever. Virginia's taking the other 4, right? So you get a completely different like playoff picture when you have a 7 game series because the argument there is yes, like the upsets are going to happen. Like obviously the Heat beat the Bucks the one year, whatever. But the better team is going to win, and even in that Heat example, right? You leave that series kind of feeling like wow, like the Heat are probably the better team than the Celtics, the Bucks, whatever it was, right? So I, but for that reason, though, you're going to get kind of less parity when you have really good teams at the top. I also do think, though, when you look around, like even the Warriors getting Jimmy Butler, do I think they can make a finals run? I'm not delusional. I don't think so. But shoot, if they were to play like the Thunder early, that's that's a scary matchup going against Steph and Jimmy Butler for a series. Like you gotta beat those guys 4 times. That's that's tough. You know what I mean? So and like okay, the finals last year was Celtics Mavs. No one thought the Mavs, unless I'm like completely tripping, like no one the Mavs weren't supposed to get there. It was supposed to be the Nuggets, and then Ant-Man came alive. Um, so all that to say, like I just you never know. Like if SGA, has a rough start to the playoffs, which I'm not betting on that, but I'm just saying if that happens and they're playing like the Warriors or they're playing even if like the Suns somehow sneak in, which I don't think is going to happen, but like shoot, man, I would not want to. I wouldn't just be like rolling over KD and Booker. You know what I mean? So
Well,
I think I hear you for sure. I want to see this playoffs play out because I think there's upset potential on both sides. Even like, I mean, I don't think like the Pistons could pull off the upset, even though I think they're very underrated. But the Cavs could. Shoot, and Milwaukee could. I think Milwaukee could give the Celtics a fight, at least a fight.
I mean, at least in the 7 game series, like you were saying, like the Virginia example, like the team that's probably going to win is probably going to win that series, like most of the time,
Yeah,
and like the majority of the games. But like even in the NFL, like I mean, there are upsets and whatnot, but just in this last playoffs, I think the only real upset that happened was the Commanders beating the Lions. That's the only like significant like in the Bills Ravens
yeah,
game, it was kind of like pick 'em. Chiefs Eagles, it was kind of pick 'em. Like the lines were a lot closer versus like Commanders was like a 10 point spread, and that was the only like real upset of like bigger than a couple points. I, I don't think that upsets really happen in the NFL as much, but I think that there's always like even last year, like when you brought up the finals between the Mavs and the Celtics, like yeah, the Mavs were definitely um, like an underdog slash shouldn't have been there kind of thing. But like the Celtics were
The Celtics.
probably the
Yeah.
second favorite behind the Nuggets last year.
Yeah, I think they were at a certain point. I think they became. I don't remember, but I think they were the main favorites going in. Maybe I don't know. I can't remember, but yeah, I hear you. I just wanna push back. Like, let's see if we get Thunder Celtics, and then
Hmm.
then we can kind of talk about it because I feel like
Yeah,
I think there's a good chance that one of them. I think there's a decent chance one of them gets upset, and I think at least there's a guarantee that one of them has a very tough game 7 at some point. Like, I just don't see both of them cakewalking. There's no way.
yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be the Thunder if I had to put money on between the two. I think that's like the most like the easier of the answers. But you're right. I am interested just because there is upset potential. Um, Whether that upset potential just be because the teams that they're playing are a little bit more experienced, that could be, that's
Yeah.
possibly a factor. But yeah, no, I'm definitely, I'm with you on that.
I mean, if you look at it, right, in the West, you got, we've talked about the Lakers. I don't think anyone's like saying they can't compete. Maybe there's
Yeah,
just on how actually good they are. I think people are for some reason. But the Lakers are in there. Nuggets, 100% in there. Warriors, I think you got to throw them in there. Grizzlies and Rockets, probably not. Timberwolves, I think they can get there with Randall back. I want to see. I want to see how that looks going into the playoffs. I would not rule them out, in my opinion. Other than that, you're probably good on the West. East, Cavs, Knicks. I'm not as high on the Knicks, but I mean they're still good, so we'll see. Um, Bucks. Pacers made things very interesting against Boston last year. A couple games. So
yeah,
I mean, and Halliburton's playing really, really well. I don't know if you've peeped that, but he's been like
yeah.
balling,
He's
balling.
back.
Yeah, he's back. Um, Pistons are overall very hot, so maybe like they at least make a series interesting. But I don't know. I think we're gonna get an interesting playoffs. I guess is all I'm saying. I just want to push back a little bit. Like if we see like Thunder Celtics just like lose one game through the whole playoffs and then they meet, then yeah, you're probably right. But I don't see that happening. I feel like something's gonna happen.
But no, that's fair. That's fair.
Um, well, we've gone an hour, so I'm feeling pretty good. I think we hit on a lot. So yeah, I was gonna say we could do like finals picks and all that, but we'll get there. We got more to come. So unless you want to hit on, you got anything else before we?
No.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good episode. I thought that was really solid. Um, so if you made it this far somehow, we appreciate you, of course. I know we've been a little bit inconsistent on the uploads. I got a pretty busy schedule right now, but we're we're working with it. We're gonna figure it out. This might not be bad either. Kind of week and a half. We kind of just unpack NBA every week. And then we got baseball coming soon, so we'll be hitting on that as well.
Yeah.
But everything's down below. Check the description. We got IG, TikTok, the whole deal. So we'll be back. Go Rockets. Go lay ring. Let's go.
Peace.